All right, welcome everyone. If you're going into business, you need to understand that some market structures are goals you aim for, and others, well, others are traps you need to avoid at all costs. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the ultimate trap, perfect competition. And believe me, understanding this isn't just about theory, it's about learning the fundamental rules for building a business that can actually survive and grow.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with a very real problem on a beach. Then we'll connect it to the core economic theory. We're going to break down the 4 key rules that create this mess, look at the painful results for a business, and this is the most important part, we'll lay out the strategic playbook for how you can escape. So, forget the dusty textbooks for a minute. We're not starting with a formal definition. We are starting on a hot, sunny beach looking at a business problem that is playing out right now for thousands of small businesses, especially in the tourism sector. I want you to really picture this. The sun is beating down, you're thirsty, and what do you see? A sea of sameness. 20 vendors, 20 stalls, and they're all selling the exact same thing. This isn't just competition, it's like a battleground of clones. Now, put yourself in the shoes of one of those business owners. What's your immediate challenge? How on earth do you stand out when you are, by definition, identical to everybody else?
And this number is where it gets really interesting. 15,000 rupiah. Every single vendor is shouting the exact same price. Why? I mean, what would happen if one vendor got ambitious and tried to charge 20,000? You know what you do? You just walk 2 feet to the next stall. This number isn't a strategic choice they're making, it's a sentence handed down by the market. It tells you everything you need to know about power here. The individual seller has absolutely none. So this chaotic, powerless situation that our coconut vendors are stuck in, it isn't just some random thing that happens. It's actually a textbook example of a formal economic model. We're about to put a name to this problem. Perfect competition.
And this is the crucial point, right here. In this model, you don't set your price, you take the price the market gives you. For you econ buffs, it means the demand curve for your specific business is a perfectly flat horizontal line. If you raise your price by a single penny, your demand instantly drops to 0. This is ground zero of capitalism, and it's built on 4 incredibly strict rules. And for any smart manager, your entire strategic job is to figure out how to break these rules so you can escape. So if we want to figure out how to escape this trap, we first have to understand the bars of the cage, right? We have to dissect the 4 core assumptions that create this whole ruthless environment. Let's break each one down from a manager's point of view.
Our 20 coconut vendors are the perfect example. Think about it. If one vendor decides to just pack up and go home for the day, does the market price of coconuts change at all? Nope. The tourists just buy from the other 19. So, as a manager, what does that mean for your growth strategy? It means you can't grow by raising your price. And making one more or one less coconut has 0 impact on the market. You are, for all intents and purposes, insignificant.
A coconut is a coconut is a coconut, right? They're all green, they're all cold, they all come with a straw. The product is what we call homogeneous. It's identical. You see this all the time with souvenir shops selling the same mass-produced keychains. There's no premium coconut brand. So let's really think about the strategic implication. If your product is identical, what can you possibly compete on? It takes away every tool you have, quality, features, branding, and it leaves you with just one, price. And that is a brutal, brutal game to have to play. I mean, what do you really need to start selling coconuts on the beach? A cooler, a sharp knife, and a supply of coconuts. The barriers to entry are incredibly low. This isn't like trying to start a new airline or a pharmaceutical company. So now consider the threat. What does it mean for your long-term profits if some new guy can just show up tomorrow, set up shop right next to you for almost no cost? It means any extra profit you manage to squeeze out just acts as a signal, a beacon for others to jump in, which then drives the profit right back down until everyone is just barely scraping by. A tourist on that beach has, for all practical purposes, perfect information. They can literally see all 20 price signs just by turning their head. There's no confusion, no hidden fees. So here's the strategic question. If your customers know every single one of your competitors' prices instantly, what does that do to your pricing strategy? The answer is you don't have one. The market has one for you. Any attempt to set your price even a tiny bit higher means you sell nothing. Okay, so let's put it all together. What happens when you combine these 4 assumptions? What's the real-world result of trying to run a business in this unforgiving environment? For so many small businesses out there, food stalls, souvenir stands, you name it, this isn't some abstract theory. This is their daily grind. And this right here, this is the manager's dilemma in a nutshell. Because you have 0 pricing power, you're forced to be a price taker. That inevitably crushes your profit margins down to the bare minimum. And why? Because any little bit of extra profit you make acts like a flashing sign, attracting new competitors who then flood the market and drive prices right back down again. You end up on this hamster wheel, just struggling to survive with no resources to actually grow your business. And you're always vulnerable to the next person who shows up with a cooler and a knife. Understanding this grim reality is the first step to figuring out how to break it. So, if this brutal world is the baseline, then the most important thing for you to take away as a future business leader is this. Your primary strategic goal is to escape. But how? How do you go from being a powerless price taker to a powerful price maker? This slide, this is your strategic playbook. This is your escape plan. Escaping perfect competition means you have to systematically break the assumptions that define it. You have to move from the column on the left to the column on the right. You stop selling a homogeneous product and you create a differentiated one. Maybe it's a coconut with a unique flavor or served in a cool branded cup. You stop being a price taker and you become a price setter. You find ways to build barriers to entry. You go from having no brand to building real brand loyalty. You move from a world where everyone knows everything to one where you have something special that your customers value and your competitors can't just copy. So I'm going to leave you with this strategic challenge. Put yourself back on that beach. You're one of those coconut vendors, but now you have this framework. Where would you start? Which of those 4 assumptions would you attack first to engineer your escape? Would you differentiate the product? Would you try to build a brand? Would you find some way to create a barrier to entry? Your answer to that question, that's not just an academic exercise. That's you starting to think like a real strategist.